At Origins, what begins with a plant-powered idea ends with proven performance. What you see in the jar, that's decades of research and curiosity.
Alright, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Issachar coming back at you with another lesson. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Akwakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. Alright, in today's lesson, we're gonna go into all these wars that are, escalating across the planet. So this is why I showed you guys right now those that scene in the backdrop. Those photos of the missiles of Russia. Times Venezuela escalating. With America. All right. What else did you see? Okay, things are escalating between Iran and Israel. So there's a lot of things happening around the world. And this is what our Lord spoke about. So let's go to St. Luke chapter 21, verse 9 on down. But when you hear of wars and rumors of, wars and commotions, be not terrified. Right. So be not terrified, because the Lord has told us, all right, about these things. Okay, the Lord had told us about these things. All right, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet. But the end is not by and by. Meaning what? That these things have to happen in order for us to to get the kingdom. You see, in order for us to get the kingdom. Verse 10. Then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Right. And so this is exactly what you're seeing happening right now. You got tensions escalating between the U.S. and Nigeria. All right, all this stuff happening around the world, and it's just escalating. And who got Venezuela's back? China, Russia, and North Korea. Verse 11, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. This is what you're seeing. You had that 6-point something earthquake the other day in Afghanistan. All right, there's a lot of stuff happening around the world, a whole lot. Okay, and famines, right? Beginning with the SNAP benefits, being shut down, and a lack of food and because this food out here is gonna be like on a recall, because some food that they do have out here, you can't even eat it, because people are getting cancer, people are getting sick. All right, the soup. All right, the soup that's top ramen. All right, they are they found out that that's giving people cancer. You see? All right, so there's a lot of the food's gonna start to get scarce out here, which means that there's gonna be a shortage of food very soon, and pestilence. Yeah, because the COVID-19 was just the beginning. There's gonna be a lot more pestilence coming down the pipe. All right, Bill Gates told you out of his own mouth. That if the first one didn't get your attention, the second one will. Because remember, these top Edomite rulers, they're continuing to create stuff down there, in their labs. Hey, how many of you guys out there ever seen that cartoon, Dexter's Laboratory? Okay, how many of you guys ever seen that? Okay, all right, that's the Edomites. Okay, Esau, he's always down there in those laboratories. Okay, he's always down there in those laboratories, making all kinds of stuff, mutating animals, mixing DNAs. All right, let's continue. And fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Yeah, the so-called UFOs, the blood moons. All right, so this is the signs that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is giving us. All right, so let's continue. This all goes into the times that we're entering. Because you can't, you must stay focused out here. Okay, you must stay focused out here. Why is that? Okay. Oh, why is that? Because remember, we're not out of the woods yet. A lot of brothers and sisters are about to be persecuted. So you have to remember what's going to happen. You gotta remember what's gonna happen out here. Akim Aqua. You gotta remember it's very, very important. Okay, very, very important. It's it's not a light thing. What's about to happen out here. See? All right, so let's continue. This is St. Luke, chapter 21, verse 9 on down. So we're gonna continue in the 12th verse. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you. Right? Because remember, it's we still are in a very, very, serious time where, brothers and sisters will be separated. You will be separated from your family. The Lord's going to be with his elect, but you got to remember that, much harder times are coming. So you got to stay on point. You know, you want to stay on point and always remember, you know, what time that we're in. You know, you got to keep yourself, you know, you got to keep yourself in the spirit, you know. You got to be constantly ready, you know, because at this time right now, anything can happen, you know, with these, what this economic collapse, you know, with Russia, the United States going at it. All right, they can, you know, hit the United States with a pocket nuke, EMP, a cyber attack at any time. You know, they can give the green light to their sleeper cells. You know, at any time it can go down out here. You know, this is something that you have to realize. You know, we're that close, you know, to things happening and persecute you, right? Delivering you up to the synagogues, that means chief houses, and into prisons. Because some brothers and sisters in the faith are going to go. See? Being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Right. Okay, just like our Lord was delivered up and betrayed. So, but this is what the Lord said. Check this out, okay? You know, this is, be not weary. Verse 14, settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. Right. Okay, so settle it therefore in your hearts. Okay, so meaning what? Okay, meaning what? You know, in your mind. Okay, settle it right there in your mind. You know, of you know, don't be worried. Okay, remember the scripture. The Lord says, "I'm going to be with my elect." See. Verse 14, settle it therefore in your hearts, meaning your mind, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. Verse 15, for I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. See, that's because they can't prove what we're saying is false, you know, because it's the 100% truth. You see, nor resist, because they can't get enough, you know. This is why the truth, you know, the true men of the Lord are, you know, targets out here. But why? Because it's the highest knowledge on the planet Earth. Oh, and there's something that I wanted to share with you guys that, you know, when the last couple of days, you know, I've been hearing, you know, how the apostles are always saying that, you know, you have to teach the 100% truth, because if not, it's not good. And I just had something to add on that, okay? Check this out. So let's say you guys go to a restaurant, whatever, okay? And you guys order, let's say you order a cheeseburger, right? Okay. Well, what if when you order that cheeseburger, it doesn't come with the bottom bun, with the bottom bread? You know, it has the top bread. You know, it has the lettuce, you know, the tomato and the meat and cheese, you know, but they forgot to put the bottom bun, you know. Not because you ordered it that way special, but because that cook forgot it, you know. So when you get that burger and it's not 100% what you ordered, all right, are you gonna be happy with that cheeseburger? You know, you're telling me that burger's still good? I mean, you can still eat it, but it's not good. Okay, because you paid for, you know, a full cheeseburger, you know, a complete cheeseburger. See that? You know? So is that burger any good? You're gonna be like, hey man, I paid for a full cheeseburger. You know, where's the bottom bread at? You see? So that's how this truth is. You know, if you don't have 100% truth, then it's no good. You know, this is why you have to have 100% truth. You know, you gotta have the 100%. You know, not just, you know, oh well, I had half of it, right? No, it's the 100%. You gotta have the 100% truth out here. See, or else it's no good. Or else it's no good. Or else it's no good. Verse 16. Listen up, because this is very important. You know, this is what you guys got to understand what's going to happen here very soon. Very soon. Because this is like the next step. Okay, because before before we enter the kingdom, it's gonna be very, very cutthroat out here. There's gonna be a lot of backstabbing out here. Check it out. Just read it. Okay, so this is St. Luke chapter 21, verse 16. Listen up, Israel. Yasha Allah to the hopeful elect, because this is something that you have to remember. You have to remind yourself daily. All right, it's not all just remember. We're in the truth and it's gonna be all peaches and cream. Nah. Okay, remember this is coming down the pike next, very soon, because what happened to our Lord? Okay, look at what he had to go through. All right, so yes, the Lord is gonna be with his elect, but remember, we still got to go through it. Verse 16, and ye shall be betrayed, both by parents. See, because there's parents out there that are working with FBI and with agents to turn in their own sons just because they're in the truth. Yep. Yeah, it's real talk. There was a brother in the Bay Area who when you first come into the truth, you just want to tell your family, your cousins all about it, but you don't get the same reaction, because the Lord didn't wake him up to this. You see? So what happened is when he told his parents, there was a brother up there in the in the Bay Area. I forgot the brother's name, but he told his parents, and guess what his parents did? His parents called the cops on him just because he said he told his parents about the truth. Imagine that, just because he said, hey, the Lord looks like this and the Lord's name is Yahushai. They called the cops on him. Imagine? To let you know, this ain't no joke, and that, I'm not saying, that, oh yeah, forget your parents and your family. No, not at all. Okay, because there are going to be some situations where your family has your back all the way to the end. But there are going to be those situations out there, and there's going to be many of those you that are going to turn you into the officials just because you're in this truth. It's that deep and it's that serious. Remember, this ain't something just to to talk bad about your parents at all, and to look at them sideways. No, but this is a real factor that is going to happen to certain of the elect out there. You see, it's very real. Okay, remember, our Lord was betrayed by his own disciple. So remember, especially in these times when there's a scarcity, a lack of food, you have soldiers on the streets, people are going to be pointing fingers. Real quick, I got a quick example for you guys. Remember, in the first pandemic, okay, family members were telling on each other, citizens were telling on each other, remember? Because they said, hey, don't go out, wear a mask, keep 6 feet away from each other, remember? They said, hey, don't get together in large, if you guys go out, don't get together in large groups. Remember, people were filming each other, recording each other, telling on each other, sending it to the news and stuff. Like, look at these, people were telling on each other, pointing the finger. See? All right. But that was just, for the pandemic. And there was just a shortage of what? Toilet paper and hand sanitizer. Imagine when there's no food. Okay? Imagine when there's no food. Shit. And there's troops on the streets with tanks, soldiers pointing machine guns at you. People are not going to hesitate to turn each other, friends, family members, co-workers, neighbors. They're not going to hesitate to call the authorities. All right, especially when people are, there's big old food banks, and there's a scarcity of food. People, and especially once there's soldiers on the streets with tanks, pointing a machine gun to your face, to your children's face. Oh, people are not going to hesitate to tell on one another. There's going to be a whole lot of backstabbing out there. A whole lot. Okay, get ready for your, you're talking your ultimate betrayals. It's going to go down out here. Because remember, when people are scared, okay, because remember, Babylonians, the American people are soft. Okay, the American people are soft, and they're not strong-willed. So they get scared right away. They'll turn in their own family members even before they know the full story. All they gotta do is just hear that, somebody has to just come up and tell them a story.
No, I'm driving later.
And that's it. They'll go along with these agents right away. They'll turn their back on their own family members. They won't even tell them. Hey, is this true? No, they'll just believe them. Because you gotta remember, a lot of people, just because we're built up in the faith, these peons, these Americans, they're afraid of these leaders. Remember, they look up to the so-called white man as their leader. You know what I'm saying? So they're scared. When the so-called white man says something, they listen. Oh, absolutely. They're not gonna hesitate to tell on each other and family members and neighbors and co-workers. But what happened the first pandemic? All right, weren't you peons telling on each other? All right, and there was just a scarcity, a lack of toilet paper and hand sanitizer. Imagine when there's this city's under a martial law, and you barely have enough food to survive. Oh, people are not gonna hesitate to point fingers. You kidding me? Because people are scared of the leaders in this world. You Babylonians, remember, we're surrounded by cupcakes. They're scared, they don't know the Lord. So they're scared of Esau. Yep, they are. So they're not going to hesitate. Just read it again from the top. Verse 16. All right, and ye shall be betrayed, both by parents, listen up, and brethren, and kinsfolks, and friends. And some of you shall they cause to be put to death. Because they're not going to hesitate. Especially when they make that these leaders, around the world, make the RFID chip mandatory, which is the MOTB. It's about to be very, very cutthroat out here. Remember that. Very man. You're talking about your ultimate betrayals. Because remember, just because right now, remember, those of you in the faith, you guys are doing a beautiful job. Just because you're built up in the faith and strong, remember, these people in the world, they don't know the Lord. They're not built up in the faith. So they're going to cry. They're going to need to Esau right away. Right away? Right away. Verse 17. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. It's a very, very serious ordeal. But that's, it's just something for you to, just to remind yourself. Because we are entering a time of war, where real soon there's not going to be no more jobs, Yeah, there's a lot that's going to be happening out here, a whole lot. Because even these Babylonians, aka Americans, even they can see that this place is through. And the American people are the stupidest people on the planet Earth, and they can even see that this place is crumbling. That's how you know that this place is finished. America is done. But we still got to go through the motions, a little bit more. Remember, the elect you guys are gonna be okay. But remember, you're still gonna go through some stuff. Yeah. So you gotta keep that in mind. Remember, never get too comfortable out there. Okay? Akim and Aqua, brothers and sisters, don't get too comfortable out there. Of course, have your balance. Do what you guys all gotta do. All right, but remember, don't get too comfortable. All right, remember what's about to go down out here. Okay, because it's real talk. It's not going to be just no easy ride. Remember that it's not going to be no cakewalk. Okay, yes, the Lord's going to be with His elect, but it's gonna we still got to go through it, big time. Okay, big time. So the Lord's going to be with His elect, but you have to. We still got to go through the motions, you see? All right? All right, verse 18. But there shall not a hair of your head perish. Right. Because the Lord is going to be with His hopeful elect. Absolutely. Okay? Verse 19, and your patience possess ye your souls. Right. Okay, because you got to be patient out here. It's a must. Okay, you got to be patient out here. You know, because remember, we're entering a time where there's going to be a lack of bread, a lack of things out here. You know? And you're not going to be able to just go to the store and get things like the way you have it right now. All right, so remember, this is where patience is key. Remember that patience, to remain in the spirit, keep the faith, and be patient. That's key right there. All right, because look at how the 2/3 are acting. Oh hell no! You know, you're gonna cut off my SNAP benefits. Oh fuck that! I'm gonna go rob. I'm gonna go kill. You know, you're not gonna start me out. Shit. See? Because they're not patient. Look how stupid they're acting. Because they're not spiritual. They're carnal. You know, and they got no patience. Look at how they're acting. You know? So, you know, let's go into that. You know, let's kind of switch gears and just kind of go into, you know, the terrible time that's about to befall in Babylon, America. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1 on down. Woe to the rebellious children. So woe unto thee that do not put your trust in the Lord. Check this out. Said the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, that take counsel, but not of me. Yeah, because you guys are trusted in Trump and the American system. See? All right? A lot of you guys say, well, you know, whatever the government says, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to take the juicy juice. I'm just going to take a chip. Well, you're going to be destroyed. Okay? That cover with a covering, but not of my spirit. See, because you guys, the majority of these Babylonians, you guys are doing things according to what you feel is right. According to what these leaders are telling you what to do. See? You're not doing what the Lord is telling you what to do. You guys are listening to KTLA. See? That they may add sin to sin. Yeah, because a lot of you out there are just freely eating pork. You know, having sex on the Sabbath. You know? A lot of you guys out there are going to fuck off. See? Because you guys are trusting in this government. And look what's happening now. Now, even the so-called white people, you guys even see it now. Okay? The American citizens. See, remember, you guys are next. Okay? It's not just the foreigners that are going to get it. No, the Americans, remember, the so-called white people, you know, so-called good American citizen, you guys are next. Remember that. Okay? There's going to be nothing but death and destruction out here. You know? Like, for real, for real. Remember, you guys are next, you know? Keep talking that shit, but remember, the Lord has everybody's number. All right? We're in the time of judgment where nobody's escaping. Nobody. Because it's starting with the foreigners first, our people, right? Then it's going to go to the American citizen. Then it's going to go to you elites. Because the angels, after the elites, you know, cause many people to be starved out here and put people in guillotines, then what's going to happen next? Okay, then the 144,000 are going to be, because everything's going to happen in steps. Okay, so after you elites, you know, have your wickedness for that small time, that small window, then what? Okay, then the 144,000 are going to be activated, and then you elites, those of you that are causing all this trouble out here, then your ass is going to get a beat. Your asses are about to get a beat down. Remember, you guys are going in chains. All you leaders around the world, all you heathen, not just Esau, all you heathen. Okay? Yeah, so this is why we don't fear the so-called white man. Number one, we fear the Lord, and the Lord told us not to fear our enemies. But also, we know where these Edomites, where they're going to end up. They're going to slavery. So we don't care what they got to say. You know, if they get mad, how they feel. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. But why is that? Why is that? Because it doesn't matter because they're going to slavery, you know? So we don't give a damn because we know their latter end. So we know, like, oh, hey, man, these dudes are going to slavery. You know, Yahweh Bashim Shai and the angels have this place surrounded. But that's why we're not tripping because we know that our enemies are going down and they're going to slavery. So that's why we don't even give a damn. They could call us all the names, you know? They can call us everything underneath the sun and more. It don't matter to us because we know that the so-called white man is going to slavery. So we ain't tripping because we know where you're headed. See? You know? Yup. Because we know what it is. We're not in fear biting our nails like you elites, you know? Like the left-hand side. Because you guys are hoping like, man, I hope that they don't get activated. Because the reason why the left-hand side has so many teams and agents out here is because they're scared. Because they know that, man. They know that because they don't want to lose their kingdom. Okay? You know? So this is why we can laugh. Because they're nervous because they don't want to lose their kingdom and they don't want to go into slavery. But they're going, you know? The power, the spiritual power is going to be activated, you know? Oh, yeah. And there's nothing that our enemies can do to stop it. You see? So that's why, yeah, you want to be circumspect out here, but you don't got to worry about our enemies. You know, you got to know that, yeah, these things are going to come down the pike, but you don't got to be worried about them, you know? You don't got to be worried about them at all. See? All right. So let's go to verse 2. All right. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 2. All right. That walk to go down into Egypt, to America, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, Trump, okay? Whoever's the president, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt, America. See that because you're not asking for help from the Lord, because you're not praying to the Lord. A lot of you guys say you believe in the Lord, but you guys don't believe in the Lord. Okay, the Lord said it himself. You know, a lot of you guys say that you believe in the Lord with your mouth, but your actions, your heart, your mind is far from the Lord. Because you still eat pork, you have sex on the Sabbath, you don't even care. You know, you're still doing what you want. You know? Because at the end of the day, it's all about you. You're the boss, you know? A lot of these people out here are in that spirit of, oh, you can't tell me shit, you know? Because I'm the boss. That's fine, but remember, death it is, you know? See? So when you're about to, you know, when you're about to perish, you know, when you're starving out here, don't cry to the prophets. Because the prophets are just going to laugh at you. You know, and the Lord is going to mock our enemies through his prophets. How? By when you guys are going through your when you're going through your troubles, when you're being starved out, like right now, you know, you're already seeing the beginning stages. You know, 2/3 are already scared, saying, "Oh hell no!" You guys are already stealing, you know, because you're scared. You know, how come you're not calm and steady and trusting the Lord? If you believe in, you know, if you believe in the Most High, you know, because you don't. If you believe in the Most High, you would sit your ass down, you know, and you would trust in the Lord. By your actions, it proves that you don't trust in the Lord. Because look at you're out, you 2/3 are out there acting like complete buffoons, complete degenerates. You know, you don't gotta do that. The whole elect don't gotta do that and steal and be all stupid like that. Why? Because the Lord and the angels are on their side. The hell, you know, the elect are out here with just your basic necessities. You know, not even a first aid kit, and that's for real. See? Look at everybody else, all panicking, you know, buying guns on top of guns. See? You got teams, and who's the one who's scared out there? Okay, who's the ones that's scared? Okay, who's the one that has all these teams out here? Why? Because you're scared. You know? The elect are out here with nothing. You know, just your basic necessities, your basic essentials to survive, and they're totally fine. You know? See? Why? Because they honestly believe in the Lord. They're not pretenders and actors like you buffoons. See? Because they're not, you know, they're real. See, the elect are real. They really believe in the Lord. Not like the majority of this earth. See? Huh? But that's the difference, because your actions speak louder than words. A lot of you clowns say that you believe in the Lord, but you're still getting a lineup. You know, where's your beard at? To the men out there. You say you believe in the Lord. Alright, but you guys are still getting a fade. You're not supposed to get a fade. You know, you can cut your hair small, but you're not supposed to fade it up. You know? You're not supposed to get a fade. You're not supposed to line up your hair. You know, where's your beard at? You know? See? If you can't grow one, that's different. You know, if you're trying to grow it out. But if you're just shaving it, you know, you're being a demon. See, you're still eating pork. You're still having sex on the Sabbath. A lot of you don't even know when the Sabbath is. You guys think it's on, a lot of you guys think it's on Sunday or Saturday. You know?
Modern marketing can feel like you need to read consumers' minds.
You know?
Listen to every
So this is what the the Lord's saying, you know, because you guys don't even you're not even trying, you know? You're just just going according to what this world is telling you. You see? So let me read that second verse again. Isaiah chapter 30 verse 2. That walk to go down into Egypt. Because yeah, you guys are trusting in your SNAP benefits, the government assistance. You know, you guys are like, oh, FEMA will be here, we'll be fine. You know, this is the US, we got plenty of dough. Alright, we'll see, you know? Alright, and have not asked at my mouth. Yeah, because you're asking your daddy, the government, the so-called white man, a cave dweller. You know? Huh? To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh. Because you guys are putting your trust in Trump. You see? And to trust in the shadow of Egypt. That means like the government, the power of America. See? Because a lot of you guys say, all right, well, there's going to be government assistance. We'll be fine, you know. FEMA will be here. Don't worry, we'll be fine. That's what a lot of you guys think. You know, you guys think, well, if we run out of food, there'll be government assistance and, you know, FEMA will be here to help us. We'll be fine. Don't worry about it, honey. You know, things always work themselves out. They always do. Not this time. Not this time, Travis. You know, not this time, Caitlin. This time, you guys are going to starve. Because remember, the Lord is visiting the earth now. The Lord is intervening. Okay, this ain't just like the time in World War II where there's going to be a little recession and all. It's a little bit, you know, we're kind of going through a little recession, a little hard time, but we'll bounce back. We'll be fine, honey. Not this time. Okay? After things escalate, it's going to get worse and worse and worse, all the way to the Creator. Okay? Sends his son Yahushua, who also is the Creator, with the angels, who created this planet and created you mortals, along, and is going to pick up the 144,000, who also created you guys in this planet. Okay, remember the 144,000, they helped Yahushua and the angels create this planet. Okay, and everything you see, you mortals, this planet, the trees, the oceans, yep. Okay, all the fishes, the creatures. Imagine all the flowers, all the animals. Imagine. See? You know? And the left-hand side thinks they're going to stop this? Shit, hell no. You know? You see? But this is why right now you see the American people, the Babylonians, they're in shock, you know? And we're laughing. Because you also got you know you guys also got people out there, all right. You also got people out there that's complaining because ICE agents are going into schools. I saw that yesterday. You know, damn, I should have recorded it, but I saw a clip. I forgot where it was, but it was recent that an ICE agent went into a school and grabbed the teacher, which was a woman, and yanked her ass out of the school, like an elementary. In the news right there, and you Americans, I think she was an Edomite, I believe, but she was just like, I cannot believe that this happened. She's like, she was like in complete shock. It was almost like she was having like a small seizure. She was just like, because the news said, what do you think about it? She's like, I can't believe that, ICE agents would come in here and just, get the school teacher, because ICE agents went in there and dragged her ass out of that school, and we're laughing because remember, that's judgment for your ass. Remember, those of you that don't believe in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, all right, there's no escape. Okay, the Lord's laughing at you. Okay, 'cause a lot of you guys believe in Jesus Christ. A lot of you guys are laughing at the Lord and the prophets. So remember, you guys not gonna hide anywhere. Try to go and hide behind the school. or try to go hide in a church. Okay, you niggas are through. Okay, Yahweh and the angels are gonna get every last one of you. Remember, if the so-called white man don't get you with his agents, okay, and his Gurger troops, his like Apostle Gabar says, his Gestapo troops, then the angels are gonna get you. But either way, no one's leaving this planet. No one's escaping. Okay, one way or another, the Lord is gonna get you non-believers. So remember that if you're not calling on Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and you're not part of that elect, you're gonna get got out here. You know, and that's speaking to all of you out there, to you 2/3, all you Edomites and all you heathens, except the top elites of the heathens that the Lord wants to preserve for the first crops from slavery. But everyone else, you ain't going anywhere. Remember, the Lord's not mocked. You know, so that's the Lord doing that. When those ICE agents are going in there, it's not just, you know, these elites bringing harsh laws, which is true, but remember, it's the Lord, because it goes deeper than that. It's bigger than that. It's the Lord dragging your ass out. Because you're, I believe it was the Northern Kingdom, it was a woman, you know, being dragged out, a teacher being dragged out of a school, you know, right in front of her students. Remember, the Lord is not a respecter of persons. He don't care, oh, she's an elementary teacher. Okay, remember, you 2/3 have a lot to pay for. Remember, you guys are calling on Jesus Christ. You guys laugh. You know, a lot of you guys hate black people. Our Lord is a so-called black man. You know, he's an Israelite. He's a lion from the tribe of Judah. You know, so those of you out, and especially the North, you know, I know because I grew up around them a lot, especially like the older generation. You guys are prejudiced. You guys don't like black people, you know, and I grew up around that. I've seen that, you know. So the Lord is gonna get you Northern Kingdom. You know, and I'm not, that doesn't leave the Southern Kingdom off the hook, because the Lord's going to get your black ass too. But that's just letting you, you so-called Latinos know out there, because a lot of you say, oh, you know, you guys call the black people, Pinchi Mayate, and, you know, this and that. Well, Pinchi you too. Look at the Lord, has ICE agents handcuffing you, okay, to those plate. Remember, who threw the Northern Kingdom off of the airplanes? Okay, the so-called white man. Remember, that's the Lord doing that. The so-called white man is the sword of the Lord on the left-hand side. So that's the Lord doing that to you. Okay, it was a Northern Kingdom woman that was an elementary school teacher that got dragged out of her classroom in front of her students. You know, it was all over the news. You see, that's the Lord coming for your ass. No, you don't matter. Oh, hey, she's a doctor, she's a nurse. The Lord's coming for you. You know, remember, those of you that don't repent, you guys think, oh, you know, we could just worship whatever we want. It's fine. You know, let's just go to this church because, you know, I feel better right here. Go for it. But remember, if you're not repenting to the Lord's coming for you and your children. It's not a light thing, you know, so you can laugh and scoff all you want. The Lord's coming for your ass. Remember, it's either the so-called white man's going to get you or the angels are going to get you. But you will die. You are going to get some brutal judgments out here. Very bad. None of you are going to escape. Remember that either Esau is going to get you or the Lord and his angels and the 144 are going to get you. There's no escape. You know, we're in the time of judgment. And you guys are just going to see things getting worse and worse and worse out here. Alright, verse 3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh, okay, because people right now are putting their strength in America, okay? The Pharaoh meaning the Trump, so whoever's like in leadership, whoever's the president, you know? Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh, Trump, be your shame. Because you guys, and you can see that, a lot of Americans, they regret it. They're like, shit, I voted for Trump. Like, you know, and a lot of people are regretting it. They're like, damn. But remember, it's not even up to your vote. Because number one, this is not a country. Number two, your vote don't count. The elites, they select the presidents. Okay, and it's judgment from the Lord. All right, so there's a lot to go into. All right, it's not just, you know, Trump being, you know, the way he is. Okay, the reason why the Lord has Trump in there, and this goes beyond the left-hand side, the elites, Illuminati, and all that. Okay, yeah, they select the elites, they select the presidents, but it goes beyond that. The Lord has Donald Trump in there. Donald Trump is equivalent to Dennis the Menace. Why? Because this dude right here, look at, he's lighting this place on fire. Look at how many enemies there are. Look what's happening around the world, you know? Look at that. The whole world's coming up against America. Sending troops. He's about to cut off the benefits. He's pretty much burning bridges with everybody. His own citizens, even his own army. Okay? Even America's allies and NATO and all that, Trump saying, oh yeah, fuck them too. Everybody, fuck Colombia, Venezuela, Russia, everybody, North Korea. The Lord's like, hey, we're coming for Slovakia. Donald Trump saying, yeah, we're coming for everybody. Iran. Remember Donald Trump's like, yeah, we're gonna bomb the shit. Remember Donald Trump said, yeah, we're gonna bomb the shit out of them. I don't care. Right. Okay, because the Lord has the perfect man in the office. That's why right now, we're cheering Trump on. We don't like him. I mean, we're not on his side, but he is gonna bring this place down. Look at what he's doing. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, Trump's the savior. Yeah, right. Okay, that's why the Lord, how about Shimi Awashai, has Dennis the Menace. You guys ever seen that movie, Dennis the Menace? That's Donald Trump. Because he don't give a shit. He's gonna light this place on fire. And the more money he gets, the more support he gets, the faster he's gonna burn this bitch down. So that's why we're just watching with a smile, because the Lord has Dennis the Menace right now in office. He don't give a shit. That's why a lot of people say, hey, he'll go on there and he'll say anything, because it's the Lord. Why? Because it's time to destroy America. That's why. It's not so much that, Trump's an idiot and like, what the hell is he doing? Remember, it's the Lord. The Lord controls everything. Why does the Lord have Dennis the Menace, Donald Trump in office? Because it's time for America to go down. That's why. It's time for America to be destroyed. And who's the perfect candidate to put in there? The perfect Dennis the Menace, Donald Trump. Because he'll do anything. He don't give a damn. And be proud about it. Not even like, oh, hey, fuck, I'm fucking up. No, Donald Trump don't give two shits. Remember he made that video? When those people were saying, damn, what was it? No kings? Remember he was shitting on his own people? Donald Trump made a video that Slovakia, that he was shitting on his own people, that he was flying in a jet. And Donald Trump made that video. Imagine. That was Donald Trump himself showing you he don't give a fuck about his own people. Huh? That just shows you this man he doesn't give a fuck about anything. Excuse my Italian. But why is that? Because it's time for America to be destroyed. That's why. Okay? Remember, it's the will of the Lord. The Lord controls everything. So he has the perfect deceiver. He has the perfect Dennis the Menace, my man, Donald Trump, Donald J. Trump, in office. He's gonna burn this bitch down to the ground. Remember that. So don't be so mad when you guys see, hey, what is he doing, this and that. Remember, he's doing a perfect job. Okay, the Lord is controlling this nigga. Facts. Okay, he's gonna burn this bitch down to the floor. Look at what he's doing. He's doing an excellent job. You just gotta let him run. You gotta just let him go. Okay, remember, the more money he gets, the more support he gets, the more proud he gets, the faster he's gonna burn this bitch down. Facts. So you gotta remember, the Lord has this man in office. To what? To destroy America. And look what he's doing. Just look around the world. Look at how almost every other day America's going at it with somebody else. Now they're about to go at it with Venezuela. Okay, oh shit, 2 days ago, now who they're going at it? They're about to go at it with Nigeria. Okay, what's gonna happen in a few more days? Who knows? Donald Trump's literally about to fight the whole world and about to starve out his own people and firing his own generals and sending troops to his own land. Can you guys out there see where this is headed? It's over. America is finished. You can stick a fork in it, This ain't up for no, that's why it's not even up for debate. Those of you that can see the signs, you can see, hey, this shit is gone. It's over. It's over. And to Edomites and heathens, it's too late to apologize. It's done. It's done. Remember, the Lord, your sins have reached up to Yahweh Shimi Awashai into the heavens. So this is why the Lord's gonna start raining these judgments around the world. All right. Verse 3. Here we go. Damn. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh, Donald Trump, okay, be your shame and the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. This is why a lot of people are confused. A lot of people are they're very starting to wake up to smell the coffee like shit. All I do is work. Like I just work to pay my bills and to put food on the table. Like fuck, I don't know how I can save or get ahead. Cause it's confusion, you know. That's because these elites, they have lied to the world to make you live in these metropolis cities where it's just go, do this fast life, and then pretty soon now you guys are seeing that shit, man. All we're doing is just working, just to pay bills, and the more shit you get, the more the so-called white man has you guys in chains. By how? By adhesive contracts, paperwork, because you want a car, you got to get the license. Okay, you have to have registration, insurance, you got to have your tags up to date, you got to pay for maintenance. You want to get your own apartment? No problem. Okay, and then what comes as soon as you get your apartment? Boom, you got to get the you got to get the gas going, the lights, the electricity, the water. Then what? You get ads in your mail. Hey, get Wi-Fi. Hey, go with Spectrum TV. Go with AT&T. Yeah, go ahead and slap another 200 on top of that for some Wi-Fi. Hey, okay, get the new iPhone. All right, another $100, $200 a month. Oh, okay. You're spending too much money on your light bill. Here, buy some solar panels. So you're constantly paying payments. You're paying a car note. You're paying payments for your apartment, your house. You're paying for your insurance. You're paying for your cable, your phone. See? So you're in bondage because you have to pay for everything, And the more shit, excuse my Italian, you Americans get, the higher your bills are. Because you want the flat screen. You want to finance this and that and spend your credit cards. Remember, this is a debt-based system. But why is it like that? It's to keep you in bondage because now you guys can't retire. I have some experience out here. I work in construction, okay? I'm not gonna give you my full life story, but just real fast. I work in construction and I worked with elderly people, elderly men who were like senior citizens, and they wanted to retire. They're already like in their 60s and they couldn't because they still owed their mortgage. And they still they couldn't be like, hey, I want to retire, but I can't. And they already had all their years in the union, but they couldn't retire because they had to still pay for their house payment and their insurance, So check that out, You're telling me people are not in bondage? Some people can retire, but that's only a few. The majority of people, they can't even retire, not even if they wanted to, because they don't have the funds. Why? Because they're stuck in this metropolis lifestyle where they gotta pay their mortgage. So a lot of people say, hey, we gotta get the house. You don't gotta own a fucking house. For what? So that's why the so-called white man, he brainwashes you. Say, okay, hey, you're not a man or you're not a woman unless you get your own house. Bullshit. Says who? Why? So you can owe the bank $700,000? See? Now you guys want to retire and you can't. Why? Because you got that $3,000 mortgage. So now you guys gotta just work. See? But if you guys were just to buy, something smaller, something simple, then you would be all right. See? So that's what you're starting to see right now. The so-called white man, because like the brother said it, Micah Allah, okay, Micah Allah, like he said it, okay. That's a very beautiful brother right there. He's very edifying. He's from GMS Los Angeles camp, Micah Allah, okay. That brother, he was on point because now you're starting to see the so-called white man complain, but they don't have bills like us. They have big bills, where their mortgage is like $5,000 a month. Their light bill's like $1,000 a month. They got big bills. So they have, they have a lot. So that's why they're complaining big time. With us, it don't matter because they could take a car from us. We're used to it. We're used to going without a car. We're used to being fired. We're used to not having our house. A lot of the elect, have to actually live in their cars, and they're cool with it. And they're fine. You see? So this is something that now the world is experiencing. But why can't the world handle it? Your average day American citizen, Babylonians out here, you guys are barely starting to experience what we've experienced our whole lives. So we're used to it, you know. That's why we're like, shit, you know, we don't care that, you know, these governments want to shut it down and all that, because we've been going through it, so we don't care. It's just another day for us, you know. But for you heathens and Edomites, you guys never went through hardships. So now, but remember, that's because the Lord, remember, you guys are starting to taste the curses now, because you guys are going to slavery next. Remember that. Yep. So with that, that's it on today's lesson. Keep the faith on your feet, soldier. Shalom.